It is such human nature to overestimate risk and underestimate opportunity. We think we need more accelerator, but actually we're driving around with our foot jammed on the brake.
Do you ever think to yourself that if you were 85, 90, and how would you feel knowing you got 2 years left? Simon, how do you escape from 4 kids for half of the day somewhere?
It's definitely it's harder to do. I love every moment now, the freedom I've got to be able to spend all those breakfasts and dinners with them. It's so special. You don't realise like how important those little moments and connection are.
Do you think you would be able to run Culture Kings today in your prime if you had 4 kids?
It would definitely be some trade-offs each side. I think Tony and I were so lucky. Well, it was planned, but we dedicated so much of that time that we knew we were just balls to the wall every waking hour on doubling down, investing every dollar, every minute into the compounding factor. But we had 2 kids, and I always say, Tony, the most crazy workaholic. She was 9 months pregnant on Boxing Day. I worked 6 a.m. till
Was
11
that the
PM.
third kid? She was third time pregnant at that time?
This was the first one.
First one?
Yeah, and then was in labour doing rosters, in hospital.
Yes.
She was back with the baby in the office 4 days later.
Yes.
Just crazy work ethic. And we did miss a lot of breakfasts. We were leaving at 6 a.m. to go to Brisbane, our office in Brisbane. We were getting back racing to try and read them a book before bed. And we definitely missed a lot of that now it's so good with our 2 youngest ones. We're just like, it's a big deal if we miss any breakfast or dinner, basically.
So people that have 4 kids and they are 35 and they want to start business today, how do you think they can manage? And they want to scale as big as you did.
It's definitely possible. And I think one of the biggest things that I am about today is the productivity and scale and leverage is there so much more than when we were doing it. Like in those early days of e-commerce, we had to build out so much of this stuff that's just a plug-in API and you're away now.
Yes.
All the Shipero, the Shopify, the Klaviyo, we used to have so many developers building everything custom, trying to get stuff to work where it doesn't need that now in the leverage.
Yes.
And that's why I'm so big on this whole demand creation part of business is focusing there because so much of the supply side is table stakes now. You can just plug it all together and get the product, but how you create the demand, the emotion to be able to get them to drive. So much of the value creation in business today, I believe, is on that demand creation side.
Do you believe that most people are not more active, productive than 2 hours a day? I've read few books and I've watched even few documentaries about this human behavior and psychology. Some people, they go to work for 10 hours a day, or you can say I'm working for 18 hours a day, but how actually effective were you while you were doing stuff?
Yeah, I definitely feel that. And as well, I feel the intensity, it's that measure of effort is time multiplied by intensity.
Yes.
Is that the intensity level for a lot of people, they don't one of the biggest things is practicing that muscle. How do you just go to crank to a level 20? That's the thing where you can ignite it.
And was there ever a stage in your life while you were very active, you're still active in business, that you were unfit?
I've always sort of had some level of exercise, I suppose, but
not
definitely
right now you are probably
the fittest. Yeah.
The fittest you have ever been. You exercise every morning, you got a personal trainer, you run every single afternoon.
Yeah.
So how important, obviously you've been fit, but most people, there's a period of life when they are unfit. How much more productive do you think people can be when they are physically fit?
Yeah, I think it's
in their work.
Definitely, because it's just training that intensity more to come across into business. And it's just this, it's so much of that, you know, where we think when we eat, we get more energy, but we don't. We slow down. When you train, you generate more energy. I think it's very crucial. And I think that's just going to become more and more apparent is how, you know, entrepreneur and fitness will be so correlated. I feel it's like the athlete, like take it back, sports stars 20 years ago, you know, they used to drink beers and sing cigarettes, well, maybe 30 years ago.
When they were playing cricket, I remember Shane Warne or whatever, you know,
That
he'll be having a cigarette.
Yeah, well, that story of like the Booney having 64 beers on the flight to the Ashes test, it's something insane. But you could never imagine a sporting athlete being able to compete at this level now. But now you see like Brady, LeBron into their 40s still smoking it.
Well, look at professional tennis player Novak Djokovic. You know, he's in towards late 30s and he's still very active. And then you got soccer players like Ronaldo.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the guy is 40 years old. And normally, you know, I've been following soccer all my life. Like as soon as you passed age 32, it was known, okay, you are too old to play. You are very bullish on few things. One, healthy living. I have never seen anybody that is more, you're constantly educating yourself how you can be healthier. I mean, you know, 10 years ago, you probably never did ice bath. Well, I never heard of it myself. Now, that is the first thing you do every single morning. Cryo, really, I don't know if that existed 10 years ago. And I call it a freezer, but you walk in and you know, minus 100 degrees. Steam room, sauna. You are trying everything you physically can to actually be healthier, to live longer. Do you think that's a new trend?
I feel it's a trend, but it's got longevity. Yes. Because I do feel once you've earned enough money, I feel that health is the new flex.
But shouldn't it be quite opposite? Because while you are running your race like a madman in business, that you should be taking care of your body and your mind more than done right now when you don't have to.
But I think the key is the data. It's the part is you want to stop drinking as much, wear a Whoop, because you realize how much it affects you. You realize it puts you in the red for 3 days. And once you're on that green streak, you don't want to break it. So you get in that habit. And I think that's the thing is we didn't know the data of how much it was affecting us.
Yes.
And that's what I really feel, you know, for the entrepreneur part is what measured gets managed, what's managed gets improved. You're doing that so much.
How do you explain people like Warren Buffett? I'm guessing he is not as healthy as you. He's 93 years old, still active work-wise. Another person, Harry Trigubalov, 91 years old, still active. And then, you know, there's so many people that are in their 90s. You know, Donald Trump, he's 80 years old. And by looks of it, he's got more energy than most people that are in their 40s. But they don't look like the guys that are, Warren Buffett still has McDonald's, which you don't. When was the last time you had McDonald's? Actually, I remember. Probably last year. This year, actually, when we were in Europe. We were at an airport and I convinced everybody to eat junk. And even then you were reluctant if you should have it.
Yes. And I definitely like the Harry Trigubalov and Warren Buffett. That's the perfect example of why you should never retire. They're so mentally fit. They're training that so hard. So you think
that their mind is stronger than their body?
100. And that they're keeping it at such a pulse by staying on the trends and staying up to date and working that so hard. That's what's driving them. I think that's still so crucial, but I still believe doing that and the physical side.
Do you ever think to yourself when you are 90 or 85, do you ever think now, like, how would I feel when I'm 85 or 90, knowing I've got a few years left to live? Like right now, you're not thinking about that because you're 40.
Yeah.
So right now you feel I'm young. I'm still a little bit better just than my son who is age 9, skateboarding or whatever sports you do in water. So right now in your fitness and your stage of your life, you never think about, oh my God, I've got a few years left, But do you ever think to yourself that if you were 85, 90, and how would you feel knowing you got a few years left?
I do those reflections sometimes, the rocking chair, where you're just trying to, because it's those things of not regretting, not future regretting. Am I going to regret not taking this risk now, not doing this punt now? And I do think, though, one of the things why I'm so bullish on the health part is that it's improving so much. I've got to tell you about this blood filtration I'm going to do in Mexico. Wow, it takes all the blood out of your body, filters it all back through, and anyway, it removes all the microplastics.
I can't do that. As soon as I have a needle, I faint. I'm dead man.
But it's just my sort of, why I'm so bullish on this is because as health gets so much better and so much more improved, we could just hit this threshold where you can, stem cells, you can regrow stuff, you can get better. And maybe it isn't 90, maybe it is 130, 140, and still.
I truly believe that you think you're going to live till 120.
Yeah, I reckon 120, 130. I definitely feel it will be possible.
Are you going to be this ugly 120 years old cranky guy still working?
Well, it is.
And actually, you know what? I can see you in 60 years on the moon somewhere, seeing what can be developed up there.
I love it. It was just staying on the trends. That will be the hardest thing, because it's just as it's moving so fast. Like just last week, the Google AI part plus this Open AI doing the release every day for this Christmas thing is just wild. You got to try that project things out. That is a game changer in real estate. But the other thing I've got to show you this is, you were talking about staff and their productivity before.
Yes.
So Google opened their context window, which is going to be basically unlimited context window, records video, breaks it down.
Yes.
Someone will build an AI that basically sits on a staff member's screen the entire day, watches everything they do and them, and then will summarize exactly what they did that day. And tells you
in 30 seconds, and you as an owner of the business, you can say, hey, you're useless, so you really
Well, it's going to, but like, could you imagine, like we've already seen some of the
I'm surprised now that doesn't almost exist, because we had a discussion the other day. You have like a bank card at the back of your phone that is recording every conversation you're having.
Yeah.
So that's almost the same thing that having recording of everything that's happening on the screen of somebody.
Yes, but the screen and the video, and it can measure facial expressions and, engagement, and because you can already do that now on the Zoom, and it can give you a level of engagement of people.
Were you ever? I know you now for a bit over 2 years, and from knowing you over 2 years, when I met you, you were bullish on tech, you were bullish on AI. Last 12 months, I feel like you're more bullish on what's coming than ever before. Were you always like this? Not on AI, just in general.
Yeah.
Because I remember even discussing, Afterpay.
Yeah.
I believe that,
we were
Culture
the second
Kings,
merchant.
You were one of the first.
Yeah.
So by the time everybody else caught up to it, you were ahead.
And we converted over to Shopify in 2015, and that's when everyone thought we were crazy. Like, that's for beginners. What are you doing? That decision alone was worth like 100 mil because we moved the technology early. I was on Facebook ads in 2010 doing ads myself. Like, that ad product was...
Which is interesting. Soon as people start scaling their business a little bit, they start employing other people to manage something that they have a better understanding than anybody else. What people don't realize, I know, you were one of the first in 2010 to work with Facebook ads. Yeah. You sold the company, half of it for $300 million. Today, including One Life Club or anything involved, you still got your pulse on all of the ads.
Yes.
I know the fact is I see every day, you still know what ad is working, what is not. So you're still physically involved yourself monitoring what's working.
I truly believe the founder needs a level of skill set in each department and understand the fundamentals. That is one of the biggest mistakes, learning so much from other founders in One Life Club. I just see these little knowledge gaps they have where they scared. They don't, I don't go into that, and they're going off some report where it's just, they don't understand, and they think they just have to learning that one little function can just make the whole picture can come together.
Yes.
And I just think it's so important for all of us that we never stop learning. I still play around with these tools. I'm signing up for AI trials of products pretty much every second day, and I'm playing with it. I'm playing with the Google one. And you can think, oh yeah, you just go it off to your team or test all this, but there is something about the understanding the fundamentals. And it's like I would even train some of my team of reports where they would just get someone else's reports. But when you put it together yourself, it's, you know, the touch and feel of the numbers, and you can just get it. I'm sure you've got it with property deals where you're like, bang, 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 straight away in your head. Because
you're a fast decision maker. You make decisions fast. How dangerous that has been in your past? There are times that, you know, you have to make a decision on the spot, right? Go left or go right. There's no in between. But how dangerous? Because you are what I would call aggressive decision maker and thinker, right? You know, we had this quite often, these conversations, being part of public company, any decision they need to make, it might take them forever, and you can already be 3 steps ahead of them because you made the decision faster. But how dangerous is that for any entrepreneur? It's
dangerous, but it comes with the territory. I do think it's like Jeff Bezos here. If you wait till when you get 70% of the information, you've got to pull the trigger, because waiting for that last 30%, the opportunity so often is gone.
Yes.
You have to get a certain part and be able to pull the trigger.
Yes.
And I do think in this world of the data, you can just get sucked into more and more data, more and more testing, more and more without pulling the trigger. Or people, like I did a video the other day about pop-up shops because I just saw it across so many, and like they're just dabbling at stuff. You don't know if it's going to work because you're dabbling at it. You're doing it half-assed when just do it right from the get-go.
Yes.
And yes, there's a little bit of build it and they will come, right? You've got to, at one point, you've got to jump and not, but, and this is, I've definitely made some decisions.
It's never right time, you know, for anything.
But it's a competitive market, and especially, and so much is when you miss that opportunity with the speed,
But at the same time, I also believe that two of us at times we have very similar personalities, right?
Yeah.
And at times I feel like it's very healthy for us to have Simon wants to make a decision, hold the fuck on, Simon, why? You know, and then at the time you think to yourself, you know what, I know it's good for me, but at the same time, in your case, Tani, in my case, Giselle, most of my decisions, she questions them. And as much as I might not like it at that time, makes me think twice. Is this the right decision? Because I feel like maybe I'd be worth $6 billion today, and maybe I'd be totally fucked.
Yeah.
If I didn't have Giselle pulling me back at times.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same?
Definitely. I feel there's that amplification of risk, because you can so easily go 1, 2, 3, 10 and jump those steps.
But what about people that don't have Tani in their lives and they have your personality or mine?
Yeah, I suppose it's just you amplifying the risk very much so.
Yes.
But I do think this is you know where it's been so successful with One Life, the advisory board, is that you do need to pressure test the one-way door decisions. When you walk through that door, it's really hard to back up. Not the two-way ones, just you know, to test a trial, to do this, to play with it.
Yes.
But when you're like re-platforming to Shopify, when you're signing the lease, when you're rebranding, those are big one-way door decisions. You can't back out quickly.
Took you really 15 years of head down, bum up, and in those 15 years, you really didn't know if it's raining or if it's blue sky outside because your head was just so down. Keep building the business, right? While you're building it, I felt like at times, you know what, I can't wait when I'm over that hill where money is not an object anymore. Financial freedom is there. And I feel like a lot of business owners, while they're claiming it, they're only thinking about, oh my God, life is going to be so amazing when I reach that point. In your case, sold half of the business for 300 million. But then when you reach to that point, do you feel like, you know what, the fun part was actually that 15 years? Because I feel like a lot of business owners forget to live in that period of time while they are stressing. I mean, you know, people think, oh my God, he had a fantastic business, he sold it for 300 million. I can take you back in 5 moments where you were like, fuck, I do have problems, right? You know, your factory is being, you know, burning down. Tani is heavily pregnant. You lost all of the inventory that you had, or most of it. So did you yourself enjoy that entire journey?
I love the working part. I love the solving the problems. I love backing myself. But I do feel we did sacrifice a lot in those moments. Like, funny, I'm going to Japan snowboarding in a couple of weeks.
And you didn't know what Japan was for 10 years.
All my mates had this holiday booked to Japan. I tell this story in part of our company called Values. And I was like, yeah, I'm going. I'm booked it. You know, this is going to be the funnest trip ever. And like the day before, I cancelled and I legged because I had this big Nike buy and I was doing all the buying and all the ads myself and I had to do it. And I'm like, this is millions of dollars. I can't risk. I've got to.
And did you feel like you were missing out?
Well, it was and I did. And it was like those things, as I always look back now, I'm like, I should have just gone. I should have taken those extra holidays in there because you can't get them back now.
Yes.
But it is one of those.
And also, what you enjoy at age 30, age 40, you might not enjoy the same thing.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like when you're 90 years old, like Warren Buffett, there's no way you're going to enjoy your water sports that you're playing with your son today. So if you don't do what you do today in 20, 30 years, you know.
I love that book, Die with Zero. And I was telling you, when we were on that yacht in Croatia, right, we were comparing going, oh, this is $100 million yacht across here. We should... You know, we need to be like that. And then we looked up the owner and like, oh, he's 75 years old. And I'm like, well, I'd rather be 40 and on this boat. Yes. And then we look over at the Sail Croatia, the backpackers party and have a time like, you know what? I'd rather be 20 and be dead broke and be there.
Would you give 300 million cash today to be 20 years old if you had to change? And obviously, you know, when you think about losing 4 kids and wife, you don't want to do that. I'm talking about age alone. Would you give 300 million? Matter of fact, would you give everything you have to be 20 years old tomorrow?
Yeah. Especially as long as I know what I know now and I'm the one, like it wouldn't, I really reckon like.
Because money, everything, you can rebuild that, make it, you know, whatever. But this time that we got.
And especially the skill set now, to be able to,
Simon, 2 of us, we started One Life Club, really a business community for entrepreneurs and founders. Knowing what I know now, I'm thinking to myself, man, things would be different if I was part of community like One Life Club 20 years ago or 15 years ago. Because one, you know, you are massive on pressure testing any business ideas as much as you're a quick thinker and decision maker. You know, just having advisory board. How big part do you think One Life Club as a community can play in somebody else's life as a business owner?
I think,
and this is, by the way, this is not a sales pitch to anybody to join One Life Club. You know what's in there.
No, yeah, if we can get you in and you apply and you get in, it is an absolute no-brainer because like it is such that journey, you don't know what you don't know. And it's so easy to get in your own echo chamber and think that, you know, everyone around you can gas you up, your lawyer, your accountant, your staff, and you just don't know what you don't know. And you can just make these critical mistakes. But this is where this is only entrepreneurs. That's what I love about it. I hated going to these networking events where you think, oh, it's cool, I'm going to learn something. And it's just full of salespeople and they're just chewing your ear off, just trying to, you know, suck up your ass to sell your shit. And, you know, I'm sure you've got it. Those corporate tickets for whatever concert or game, it's not worth it when there's just full of salespeople that you the whole time.
Want to sell you something.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted is just other entrepreneurs where you can really just sort of share what's working, how's, you know, what's some challenge you're dealing with, and you're just sharing that knowledge back and forth. It's really at the same level, and it's that real pitch and catch.
I mean, think about it tonight. You know, we are doing a podcast before we actually have event in my own home. Tonight, we have 50 business owners in at least 20 different industries 20 different levels of experiences, and I know myself, I've learned so much about industries that I really didn't know much about. And being an investor, specifically yourself, learning more about industries will probably, give you some clarity and understanding, which industry it works, because we can see now between our members what industries are thriving, what industries are dying, what people are changing.
I think what we've attracted is the most amazing entrepreneurs where we have this all common mission of we're slaying the dinosaur brands out there that are doing it the old way. This is the whole new wave of doing it. And we're just learning so much, and you're just seeing like this group is the future. They're going to be huge companies. They're going to just eat these dinosaurs.
Well, also feel like anybody that is member of One Life Club, they want to get out there and learn.
Yeah.
It's not just network or do business or whatever. That naturally happens, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anybody selling anything at One Life Club. Hey guys, buy this from me, that's natural progression. But I feel like having 50 people in our room tonight in my home, I was like, man, the 50 minds in this room, everybody's going to go tomorrow to their work. They're all dealing with different issues, different planning, different strategies, and we have that under the roof tonight. By the way, there's a lot more than 50 One Life Club members, just one group that is coming this evening.
And it's just so good, that knowledge sharing last week coming away. I had so much notes going home. I was just dumping them all in the chat GPT, and it's just like, wow, that learning I got off that alone is huge. And hopefully I gave as much value back, because I could see people that had obvious blind spots, or they didn't know certain things that they could solve.
Which is interesting. Somebody specifically in your position, you don't need any more money. I mean, unless you want to buy a $700 million yacht, then dying with zero, it can happen a lot faster. You don't have to wait till you're 120 years old. You are so bullish yourself on learning. Like, for example, there's a lot of members that are part of One Life Club, and two of us would be talking about them. And for example, Remy, and you would say, you know what, let's bring him on a live Zoom call so you can have one-on-one, and other members can learn as well. So you're constantly learning from others yourself that are part of One Life Club community. I guess people have so much to offer in different fields as well.
And it's all changing so fast. That's where the learning intelligence is your rate of learning. So how quick can you learn? And with everything changing, it just resets the first principles. Wait, you don't need this step now. You can just go straight to here. Like one of the members with the 3PL part in China, it's like this just changes e-commerce on its head. Jump it on the Temu and Shein rails, how much cheaper it is, how you can go to global markets with broad marketing target. You do cost caps and just scale to the moon. You can build a $10 million business with one person. Basically, I want to actually do that as a project, how quick I could build it. But I reckon it's like weeks.
One thing I want to know, how do you go to bed? How do you go to bed? How do you switch on? Because I feel like your brain it's just very active. Like for you, nothing is hard, right? You are not a little bit involved in One Life Club. You're very involved in One Life Club. I know you're a very good husband. I know that. I've seen you. You're madly in love with Tani. And you guys been together for 15, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
You're a very good father. You're constantly looking for new opportunities. You actually work every day, what people don't realize. You're active. Even if you're not working, you're working because your mind. How do you switch off when the lights are off?
Well, I do breathing exercise. I do my steam, cold plunge, sauna. I try and do no screen time in that last hour.
Yes.
Before bed, I do steam, 15 minutes, 2 minutes cold, 15, 20 minutes sauna.
Yes.
Finish on the cold. And then go to bed. I can do like a breathing exercise. But what I try and do is I always post that emotional chart thing. And I'm always trying to practice those really slowing down my system and going to that really positive, grateful state. I imagine myself and just keep trying to just tick it over further to the left on that chart.
I remember once I'm pretty sure you were in the US and I was here and it was 2:00 in the morning or 1:30 in the morning and my brain is just ticking and you sent me a video, if you can remember, the breathing video, how I can breathe better so I can fall asleep and, and it actually did work. I should post a link on this so people can actually watch. How many hours a day do you sleep? And do you sleep in one go? Like if you sleep for 6 hours, do you pass out for 6 hours or you wake up every 2 hours?
Well, because the Whoop, you get that year in review.
Yes.
My sleep is definitely, it's only around that 6 hours. But I do see, that's why I asked that Tim Gurner for his, because his is off the chart. 233 days of the year at 100%. He must be in like the top one of. Anyway, that's my goal to get to his level.
Unless his Whoop just stopped working at 100, so he's showing up.
His is like the all-star. I'm like the top 1% for strain, but I'm only in the top 60% for sleep.
How can were you always like this when it comes to sleep? Or did you have times when you were building Culture King specifically where you were waking up every 2 hours because either stress was bothering you or something was in your mind?
I would definitely have those through the Culture King's journey, those cold sweat nights, where you can't sleep and you wake up like, fuck, just that whole time. That is part of the entrepreneur journey.
Do you ever get disappointed in people? And how do you deal with disappointment?
Yeah, but I think it's just so important. And disappointment can destroy you or it can drive you.
Yes.
I'm just all about turning the
corner.
And just that's one of those like key principles that you've always just got to have. It's just, not dwell on it, not do it. Like it happens to everyone, but what you
always saying, it's very important for people to learn the art, how not to be disappointed in an outcome. Because a lot of people, when they get disappointed in an outcome, they're closed up. Yeah. And then they might miss 100 opportunities because, oh my God, I got disappointed. So I'm going to close up and disappoint. Like, for example, if somebody breaks in a relationship, it doesn't mean you should judge every person in front of you because you had a bad partner in the past. Yeah. You got to learn from it and move. Do you think we're going to be in 20 years?
Well, I try and have a vision and in what I sort of see.
Can you see like a 80-meter yacht, us in Europe on it? Or?
I'm trying to not bring it back to the. I suppose the toy thing. I've had them and done them, and I've still got toys, and I love ball of shit. Same, I loved it when I was a kid, right? But I don't. My goals in the future aren't for any sort of other material thing. It's just
you're already there.
Yeah, but it's just more like those real big values, like where I try and think over this period, it's about maximizing that joy and that family and growth time. But I think when the kids are growing up and do it, I kept trying to say to Tani is like when we're in New York, I'm like, I can see us getting one of these $100 million penthouses in New York and having the massive private equity firm and we're like balls to the wall again, like 18 hours a day running this $100 billion fund or something, something big. I can see that. And that's part of this seasons of life. I do think, when you go through certain seasons, you can like for me, I love this period, having young kids and you can really see like you're the hero. And I know that's not going to last forever. I know I'm going to enter this period soon where they're more friends with their friend. They're not my best friend anymore.
But then they'll come to the time when you're a friend again. We all went to those stages. Exactly. You got to be understanding. And you want them to be a kid. Yes. You want them to have best mates. You want them to, go play rugby or whatever it is with their mates.
But I sort of feel that's where I just want to so enjoy this. And my big goal, my fitness goal, which is so big, is like my son is 8 years old now, but is to anything he can do in sports, I want to do. And that's why I was just... The other day, last weekend,
I agree, but
tried
disagree.
to do a backflip at the wake park. And so now I'm getting a wakeboard coach to try and do a backflip at 40 fucking years old. And it's
but saying that Ethan, your son, he's very active.
Yeah.
I personally think you got 3 more years maximum to beat him in most sports. After that, you're gonna need a lot more coaches.
I'm just gonna do whatever it takes, training, coach Eddie's.
I don't think anything.
to.
Do you believe in a natural talent?
Yeah, I do think. Obviously, some people can be born with more natural talent, but
And quite often, do you think salespeople are born with the skill to sell, or they can learn how to be extremely good?
I definitely think they can learn. I do think there is like this smaller than 1% that actually just have this naturally built into them, the flow and it's just so organic. But I do think anyone can learn it. You just got to break it down into simple enough steps. And most importantly, you've got to have this courage to push into this uncomfortable zone. I remember at the markets when I brought a microphone and stuff because I'm going to speak louder. And the first day I just stared at the microphone the whole day. I was just too scared to pick it up and have a crack. And then I remember that first time it's like, test. And,
and then when it's working, you shoot yourself that it's working.
But come back 3 months later and I'm just rocking them and everyone else is whinging around me because like, oh, he's taking all the customers. But I was the only one that had the courage to just do a microphone and spruik into it.
The funny thing is that you actually don't know in detail. My first gig was selling cigarettes and candles in markets. And the only difference was it was -20 in the middle of the war zone. And I remember a little table. It was literally white table this wide, maybe half meter by half meter. And I would put all the candles in front of it. And it was so fucking cold. And this market was literally between high rises because bombs were flying everywhere and candles were really selling because there was no electricity for a couple of years, right? And one thing that I've learned then is how to be persistent, how to be there all the time. Even when it's -20, other people wouldn't come and sell anything because it's too fucking cold, right? But one thing that I've learned then is how to be creative, how to beat competitors. And when it comes to talking to people, I always had this fear of talking to people. It's like somebody's going to hit me with a baseball bat if I don't go and talk to people. And once I break that fear barrier of actually, going out there and talking to people, everything changed. But my biggest thing that changed then when I was selling candles, all the people that were coming to buy candles on this market, and there was other people that were selling as well. So anybody that comes to me, I would say to them, hey, why don't I just come to your house every 2 weeks and bring you 30 candles? What I'm doing, I'm actually potentially saving your life because you have to walk 1.5 kilometers to get to this little market. Sniper can hit you, bombs can fly. So in my mind, I fucking invented Uber delivery, 35 years ago when I was literally 10 years old. But anybody, in the other day, my friend who actually lives on Broad Beach, on water there as well, and his 2 little girls, they, I don't know, 9, 10 years old, they were selling stuff in front of their house. They put like a little table. I think what I have learned and what you have learned then is that communication skills, talking to people.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of young people might be lacking if they actually get glued to iPads, phones. And the point when I bring your kids, raising kids in today's age, I think is phenomenal. So many opportunities, so much they can learn, but at the same time it's dangerous. They can lose that communication skills that I got when I was working on the markets and you got then. Do you think we are walking into these dangerous times when people will lose that communication skills?
Definitely. But I do think, I suppose that's what I'm trying to shift to is the iPhone and stuff isn't going anywhere. How do you turn them into the creator side, not the consumer?
Yes.
Because I feel 99% are just going to be consumers in it, but how do you get them the other side? And it's just the difference to being a customer at Pacific Fair or being on the other side. Yeah. And I've always had that feeling. When I go to a busy shopping center now, I hate being the customer. I'm like, I want to be the other side of the counter. I want to be selling shit. I sort of feel like I'm missing out. I suppose that's that entrepreneur thing. You just want to make every dollar there is. But it is, I want to get that into them of how do they be the other side.
And you yourself as a parent, you have to manage your kids' growth, how much, how do you get them to still have that communication skills and still be advanced in everything that world has to offer to them today? Because you can't ban them from having iPhone for 40 years.
But even, you know, you made a good point, but the communication skills through content, through the device, actually probably way more valuable than one-to-one now, because you've got so much more leverage and scale.
I feel like
it doesn't matter if Charlie D'Amelio shits herself talking to someone in person, she'll make $20 million a year through TikTok.
Yes.
So
I feel like somebody who's 18 years old or 20 or 25 or any age, people are more knowledgeable now than they were 30 years ago, because anything you want to learn, you got so much out there from AI, social media, Google, any information, any news you want to find is instant.
Yes.
Before, you know, how did your dad find news 30 years ago? You would have to watch channel 7, 9, 10 or ABC or buy a newspaper, or his friend can tell him some news. Right now, anything that happened around the world is instant. Yeah. So do you think the people these days are more knowledgeable? I think they are.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And there's so much more. Like, this is the thing. There's so much that the tables, like, it's the playing field's never been more level. Yes. I feel like entrepreneur can start day dot and you can just get traction and take it away from a big brand that's been there for 30 years. Because you out-content them, you can pay, you get the cheapest CPM, you get the eyeballs on it, you convert. It's that. Yes. It's such a, and this is what I sort of feel, it's such a golden age for entrepreneurs to be able to start and create and do stuff. And I suppose that's the biggest thing, is that people are very much in this hesitate, like looking for someone to like hold their hand and show them how to do it. It's like you won't even be able to get a job if someone has to hold your hand and show you how to do it. They're going to show an AI agent how to do it. Yes. You have to be resourceful. You have to figure out your stuff yourself. You have to. And it's one of the things, you know, with Facebook ads, I wondered where some people are so hesitant to even look at it. But then I'm like, but you're like addicted to sports bet and you're betting these trifectas and parlay. I'm like, this is like crazy math. I can't even understand the payout and they're working it straight away. This is way harder than Facebook ads. Yes. It's sort
and
of,
every gambler can tell you the odds of 3 donkeys running.
And it's like, if you just put that same math muscle into like ads, and that's what I think I got. I got that same dopamine hit that they got checking the sports bet on checking an ad every day. Did it work? What was the hook rate? What was the whole rate? Click-through rate?
At this stage in your life, what is your dopamine hit? What is it? Like, I know salespeople. Salespeople, every time they close a deal, it's like a being heroin addict. Oh my God, you know, they're back again. What is yours today?
It's learning something, applying it, and it working.
And also, I believe in your case is also winning. You fucking love winning.
Well, it's that thing of seeing it work and winning and like, oh, I was right. Like that's it. And you don't get it's one of the biggest things is when we got that big payout in the part. Like I saw one of the, you know, I loaded up on Tesla shares when it dropped, right? And obviously Tesla's on a heater. It's gone up like a lot of money since. And I was just like, oh, it doesn't. It's you don't feel the win. Yes. I don't know. It's one of the where it was so good when you actually, you know, the markets will never feel as good as getting those fresh pineapples and feeling the bum bag loaded with cash. That honestly felt richer than having the zeros in the bank account.
And even today, do you enjoy being more investor or driving the business? Because I know you do both at the moment. Yeah. You own businesses and you invest in businesses.
I definitely have to learn to be a better investor. I suppose I still though
more discipline.
I still feel I'm so much of an operator part though, and that's where I'm in this part now where okay, I don't want to just cut money into something. I want to be like involved with my team and we take something with great product, great supply side, and all it needs is the right branding and marketing and scale, and I can just come in like a sledgehammer and unleash it. Yes. That's what I want to do. And not just like, I don't want to cut a check and be on a meeting once a quarter and just get an update. Like
You're
that.
not going to get that
I've done
dopamine
that
hits.
and it just feels it's the worst. I don't.
Empty.
Yeah. That's
Do you work or do you have succession plan? I mean, you're fucking young. You're 40 years old, right? Other day I was watching Harry Trugubalov. He's 91, still going hard.
Yeah.
Are you working on a succession plan today at this age, 40? Or you're not at that stage yet?
No.
So your succession plan is, guys,
Well,
I'm working till 120.
So what we agree with the money is a huge chunk of it. We've put it in its like Ray Dalio all-weather portfolio. It's completely diversified.
You can't touch.
Yeah, and I can't touch it. I can't play with it. I don't even have it so I can look and access it because otherwise I felt like the dope checking it.
Yes.
But for me, and for my kids, it's so much like I don't think – because I know that was the thing with Tania's, like with the Culture Kings and Sal, she was part of it. It was like, I always thought we'd build it and give it to the kids. I'm like, you cannot. A fashion brand to last generations, like forget it. And it's like the odds is like so ridiculous. And my thing is like you don't want to force your kids into a thing. I want to give them every bit of skill, every bit of self-esteem and self-belief in themselves that they can call their own shot and whatever they want to do.
I think if they have that, money will come.
Yes.
Money will come, and specifically if they do actually, get that work ethic that Tani specifically and yourself have, sky is the limit. I just want to touch two more things. Donald Trump.
Yeah.
If you were in America, would you vote for him?
Yeah. I feel that.
And follow up question: do you think economy in America will get better? Him being,
I think
in
it
charge?
could be like with Elon and Vivek doing that. Could be that big deregulation. Could be the sonic boom to the economy that we could not imagine. In the US, like how they could open it up if they really pull back those layers.
Did you see the how you had a meeting with the SoftBank CEO? What's his name?
Yeah. Masa-san, and he got him to double it. Well, this is what I was going to put on my story.
He's one of the best salespeople out there.
Would you take that as an official deal at $200 billion, or would you say no? That was just because that's like one of those questions. Like, well, Trump's like shake 200 and shook his hand. It's
and
like
even
it's like that's one of those like.
I think Donald Trump is powerful figure. He's going to hold him accountable. At least push him to actually do that $200 million. I mean, look, billion. Sorry, not million as well. Do you think he's one of the greatest investors, the SoftBank CEO in the world? Because he's very bullish. I remember when he invested billions, if not $18 billion in WeWork.
Yeah, and he was just.
And I never believed in that model.
Think bigger. Yeah, I do really feel this, like, especially looking at Elon, and it's sort of like this Masa-san and stuff, and I wrote this, but it is such human nature to overestimate risk and underestimate opportunity.
Yes.
And it is that thing, is like, you think of Elon, like how he's pulled off the SpaceX, the Tesla, but then for him to go back Trump at that time when no one was backing him.
And if Trump lost, I think it would backfire.
Oh, could you imagine his regulation everyone would be, but he's...
He'd be working for us.
And this is where, his shares have gone up. It's like, can you imagine the risk he just took personally? It's not just one company. He's already the richest person in the world by a freaking mile.
I think if Trump did lose, I think he would probably lose 10% in a single day.
More.
If not more.
But this is the thing, is that his ability to take risks still even, and that's something that I aspire to. It's part when I got the sort of 300 million in the thing, and I was always like, oh man, I want to be like Elon, with the PayPal and just fucking let it ride all on something.
I'm very glad you have Tani.
I always say though, I need to place one big bet one day that gives me the flutter, that gives the
I got to know you, Simon, more on a personal level. You're very, very, very bullish in business. You are so focused on learning, it's dangerous in a good way, right? I get to know Soft Simon. I personally believe you're one big kid, and I don't think you're ever gonna grow up, right? I remember us being in Croatia. You loved your little ice creams at 9:00 at nighttime, which I don't know why, because you're such a health freak. And you are full of life, and definitely became a good friend to me, and definitely became my advisor, what I would say. And going back to that One Life Club advisory board, people that are even not part of One Life Club, so important for them to actually have that person that they can actually bounce ideas off. And you're a very good human, Simon.
Well, I want to be, I've met those ones where you get excited talking to them and you walk away not like, oh, everything's fucked, but like you're part of opportunity. And I do think that's what I want to be, and give as much value out as possible.
I think you love that. I think you enjoy it. And I think that's why you're involved in One Life Club, because you actually love giving back. I mean, making money, that natural ability that you have, especially now in this stage of your life. But I actually think you love giving back. Were you ever a shy person?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, super. And I still feel Tony always jokes like super awkward and shy, and I think that's
I don't
natural.
think you're that now.
Well, what I do believe, I believe it's just trained into part of it. You've just got to overcome. And I think it's just so important that we're never stuck. We can always keep growing. We can always keep learning. We can always add a skill set. I truly believe you can learn anything. If you break it down, you have enough passion, discipline, determination, you can figure it out and you can learn it.
For entrepreneurs, what is the one skill that is very critical for them to have, besides constant ability to learn?
I feel it's emotional regulation. That's what I keep going on about.
Yes.
But the ability to decide what emotional state you need to be in at certain times.
Yes.
Because sometimes you got to gas up your team. You got to be determined, like you're going to run through a fucking wall and ignite them. Other times you need to strategically sit back, and it's like the game of chess, and think of the next 10 minutes. And you can't be too high energy, too over optimistic.
Yes.
If you're in that run through wall, you'll make a big decision.
Yes.
And it's this conscious ability to understand what emotional state you're in, shift it to what it is, and then be able to shift your team, your customer, your business partner, your suppliers, so that you can influence them. That's the skill.
I'm going to finish it off on this. People, I'm going to name few names and tell me what you think of them. Joe Rogan. What do you think of Joe Rogan?
He's amazing. I love his part, how he called his shot. He saw, that video where he was on this thing. It's like the very early days of podcasting, and he's like, this is so cool. And he just created it around that. And his ability to learn and be open-minded and change, I think it's just so important.
And also call those shots at the moment. I mean, he wanted Trump to fly to him, whatever. Yeah. I think he lives in Texas or somewhere. He needed to fly to him. Who is your favorite podcaster? Who is one podcaster that you listen to quite often?
I love All In podcast.
Yes.
Yeah,
you actually went
to the summit. Yeah, it was so
summit.
good. But I just love like that, the David Freeberg, the science part, the Chamath and the David Sachs, the different angles that they put in business and how they apply. I know I got sucked into the politics part and was like, why are they talking so much about politics? But I get it now because when you've solved the money problem, when you've earned the last dollar you've ever spent, they're pretty much all billionaires. They're looking for the biggest impact, and they understand that's where so much of that political decisions actually impact. And they are so influential. I think they were super influential in, their support of Trump in actually helping that.
I think Trump very calculated how he was targeting young market, young people. He went to every podcast from Nelk Boys to Theo. I'm not sure if you watched the one with Theo, which was hilarious. So he was really targeting every audience that he knew he could, which didn't cost him anything, and he knew that he can control it instead of go on national televisions that is dying. Marketing part.
Yeah, it's definitely in that doom spiral that traditional media and And I do think, it's really, this election has been that real kickoff of the real death spiral, and you're going to just see the opportunities open up for other ones. And it's still, I've always, like, I think Nine's ad product is pretty cool, what they've sort of done. But they're going to have to fill the content void to actually get the views and get the inventory on there, which just these social parts are so far ahead. And the problem is that I see with so much of these traditional media is they put all their shit on social anyway. It's like they don't get, like, they're your competitor. They've played the ultimate trump card, these ones. That's why, Facebook's worth more than all the traditional media basically combined. 10x.
What can people expect out of One Life Club in 2025?
I really feel we're going to be able to sort through the massive amount of change and condense it into actionable stuff that you can implement in your business right now. That's not like theory. It's not like, one day you'll be able to do this. It's like bang, bang, bang. Here is the step. This is how you do it. This is how you... And that's what we've really got this momentum with the lunch and learns and the advisory board. I feel that is going to be the big unlock in 25, is that as that combined learning that we're able to really just, so many of us on the cutting edge of this technology and are tinkering, playing with it every day, that we get these breakthroughs that we can share inside the community, that we're going to action and get the benefit. And I just think so much of that One Life community is just going to take the dinosaurs' frickin' lunch in 2025. And it's exciting to see they're going to run lean teams that are so fast, that are so innovative, that is just so much opportunity for entrepreneurs in this day and age. And we really want to foster that community that is everyone in it is about that. No one's resting on their laurels. No one's here is just like, I'm good or whatever, and I'm just, coasting. We're all on the front foot. We've all got that forward momentum. We're all willing to learn, to get in there, to try new things, to experiment, to be hands-on, to be engaged.
I think that's the big danger of business people in general, when they get into that complacent, confident mood, and then there's a hungry Simon around the corner chasing you.
It was always the thing I was so worried about at Culture Kings. I was never worried about the dinosaur ones. I was always worried about the 18-year-old Simon Beard, because it's like, and that's why I was always looking for them to learn and train. And some of these guys that, I was speaking about one that's in there, 26, 160 million. We just did 40 million in fucking November, and he only has 9 staff. 20 million, and he just told me today actually, so he turned off his ads because he ran out of stock and just did SMS because his ad spend dropped so much. He was making 50% EBITDA, over $1 million US profit a day. And like, he's 26 years old with 9 staff. Yes. Can you, it's that.
And also one thing that he's got at age 26 is really fearless when it comes to actually going for it. Because do you feel like as you're getting older, you're becoming more protective of what you do? Because when you're 26, fearless, go for it. Now, in your case, there's wife, there's 4 kids, Tiny's there, you know what I mean? So now I feel like your appetite, as much as you want to be aggressive, is still that minimize the risk. Age 26, no family. Yeah. What does he care? I'm all in. And that is a danger to people.
Yes, but I do think we overestimate risk. One of the questions I really wanted to pull tonight to everyone is like, what would you do in 2025 if you had zero fear? What would you do? What were the actions? Because it's like my son, he's only been wakeboarding for 8 weeks, and then he's attempting backflips, right? And he's just slipped and almost landed. And it's like, how... For me, it's like I can't even get it through my head to attempt to go, I'm going to fucking blow my knee out. I'm going to do this.
Fearless.
Yeah, but it's the thing. It's, do we only get hurt because the fear's there? He has zero the fear, and he'll not get hurt.
And I think he's the kind of young boy that the way you teach him to swim, just throw him to board and figure it out, buddy, and I reckon he'll come back. Yeah. For sure.
Well, what will you do in 2025 if you had zero fear?
I'll tell you one thing, Simon. I never had any fear. and I still don't have any fear today. That might be a cocky answer. I never wanted to let fear stop me to do what I wanted to do. The only thing is, with zero, in 2025 or 6 or 27, I just enjoy different things in life. You know what I mean? In 2025, now I'm chasing happiness. I'm such a big sucker for chasing happiness. If in that specific moment or time of the year, I feel like I want to put everything on the table, my thing is, I only want to take risks that are calculated. Like me and you, for example, selling everything we got and putting all the money to build a rocket to go on a Mars. Like, that's risk to me because we don't know what the fuck we're doing, right? So that is a risk. But to me, the reason why I have zero fear, because anything I'm going to do, I have a great understanding, or I might be connected with people that I trust a lot, which is a big fucking thing, trust these days, that have a better understanding than I do to protect whatever I'm risking. So I'm working on zero fear, just more calculated.
Yeah.
Like, you got zero fear right now. You're just more calculated how you play with things. Would you agree there?
Yeah, I suppose when I was really trying to unpack, I still feel there's always a little bit of fear there. Because even like when you take the second takes on the video, that's fear. Because that's still embarrassment. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't.
No. I wouldn't say second. Sometimes I'm doing 22 times.
Yeah, exactly. So I sort of feel I've got this whole theory.
It gets into your head like, I'm already fucking it up.
We don't realize that I think so much of life, we think we need more accelerator, but actually we're driving around with our foot jammed on the brake.
Yes.
And then how do you actually completely release that brake?
Quite often I always say, any supercar can go a lot more than your brain can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, take Lamborghini, for example. If you're in mountains, you're braking too early because you think car can't go, but car can go a lot more. Yeah. And same humans can do too if they don't put that foot on the brake to stop too early instead of go all the way. But I always say that fear is the biggest dangerous thing when it comes to what's holding people to actually do well.
Yeah.
I think that One Life, the name behind One Life is really for people to truly understand the value of time. So all the members that are part of One Life Club, 12 months in business world today, I feel like it's like 20 years. 40 years ago. Yeah. Because, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, you had no air conditioning in a car for 50 years. Yeah. Now, cars are driving themselves. They're soon going to they're already flying. And so I feel like now, that timing in business, we are living in a most exciting and dangerous times because how everything is changing so fast. And I think, yourself, your foot is always on, I need to learn so I don't fucking stay behind. And that's what One Life Club is all about. Yeah. So for people not just to learn from Simon or Emil or John or George, for every other person in the room, because there's always something you can learn from anybody. Yeah. So.
And it's condensing from the endless knowledge that's out there. How do you actually curate it down? Because so much of the knowledge is masked up with this, a paywall and a sell and it's a clickbaity shit.
Yes.
Where that's what we want to sort of do we're cutting all that out and it's true value per second. That's the big part of One Life of how do we offer this value per second, because the time is the most important part, is the most expensive.
And we can't take it back.
Yes.
Thank you, Simon.
Thanks.